All right, today we're jumping into a big one. One of the most common, and let's be honest, one of the most frustrating check engine light codes you can run into, P0174. We are going to break this thing down and give you a clear path from diagnosis all the way to the fix.
You know the feeling, right? You're just driving along, minding your own business, and bam, there it is. That little orange engine light just glaring at you from the dashboard. It's an instant shot of anxiety. But hey, that light isn't just trying to ruin your day. It's your car trying to talk to you. And today, we're going to become expert translators.
And it's usually not just the light, is it? You can probably feel that something's off. Maybe your car feels kind of sluggish. It just doesn't have that get up and go when you hit the gas. Or maybe it's idling really rough at a stoplight, maybe even stalling. You might hear some weird pinging noises, or even a very distinct hissing sound coming from under the hood. These are all clues, and they're all pointing us in the right direction.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The scanner spits out this code, P0174, and it reads System to Lean Bank 2. I know, that sounds super technical, like a bunch of mechanic jargon, but trust me, when you peel it back, the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of your engine as a chef that needs a perfectly balanced recipe of air and fuel to run right. Well, this P0174 code is basically the engine screaming that the recipe is wrong. There's way too much air and not nearly enough fuel. This is what we call running lean. And here's why it really matters. A lean engine runs hot, really hot. And over time, that extra heat can cause some serious and seriously expensive damage. So this isn't just an annoyance, it's a critical health warning for your engine.
All right, so what about that bank 2 part? This is actually way simpler than it sounds. If you have a V-style engine, a V6 or a V8, you have 2 banks of cylinders. Well, bank 1 is always the side that has the number 1 cylinder. So bank 2 is just the other side. Simple, right? So this code is already helping us out by narrowing down where the problem is.
Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. A P0174 code doesn't just point to one single broken part. Instead, it gives us a list of potential suspects. You've got to think of yourself as a detective, and we need to investigate the most likely culprits.
And let me tell you, suspect number 1, the one mechanics look for first almost every single time, is a vacuum leak. This is where unmeasured air is sneaking into the engine, completely throwing off that air-fuel recipe we just talked about.
This extra, sneaky air can get in from all sorts of places. A tiny crack in an old brittle vacuum hose, a bad gasket on the intake manifold, or maybe a failing part in the PCV system. The car's computer has no idea this extra air is there, so it can't add the right amount of fuel to compensate.
Okay, on to suspect number 2, the mass airflow sensor, or MAF sensor for short. Think of this thing as the bouncer at the front door of your engine. Its only job is to measure all the air that's supposed to be coming in. But if that sensor gets dirty or starts to fail, it gives the computer bad information, and with bad info comes the wrong fuel calculation. Of course, a lean condition isn't just about too much air. It could also be about not getting enough fuel. This could be anything from a clogged fuel filter that's choking off the supply, to a weak fuel pump that just doesn't have the muscle anymore, or even fuel injectors on bank 2 that are gunked up and aren't spraying properly.
And here's a fun, ironic one for you. The very sensor that's reporting the problem, that oxygen sensor on bank 2, could be the problem itself. If the sensor is faulty, it might just be sending inaccurate lean signals to the computer. It's basically crying wolf when everything is actually fine.
And finally, we have an exhaust leak. Now, for this to be the culprit, the leak has to be before the oxygen sensor. What happens is the leak can actually suck outside air into the exhaust pipe. This totally tricks the O2 sensor into thinking the engine is running lean because it's suddenly detecting all this extra oxygen from the atmosphere.
Okay, so we've got our lineup of suspects. Now for the investigation. It's so important to remember you don't just start replacing parts at random. You follow a logical, step-by-step process to find the real cause. You always start with the simplest, cheapest things first. Number 1, just use your eyes. Do a thorough visual inspection for any obvious cracks or loose hoses. Next, cleaning that MAF sensor is an easy and cheap step that can sometimes fix the whole thing. Then you move on to more advanced tests, like a smoke test to find hidden vacuum leaks, or using a scanner to look at the live data the engine's computer is seeing.
So what are you looking for on that scanner? The magic number is called fuel trim. Think of it as a percentage showing how much extra fuel the computer is trying to add to the recipe.
If you see the long-term fuel trim for bank 2 at positive 15% or higher, that's your smoking gun. It's definitive proof the computer is desperately trying to compensate for that lean condition.
So once your investigation has pointed you to the definite culprit, whether it's that vacuum leak, a faulty sensor, or low fuel pressure, the path to the final fix becomes crystal clear.
The solution now is targeted and precise. You're not guessing anymore. You repair the specific leak you found, or you replace the specific component, that MAF sensor, that O2 sensor, or the fuel pump that your tests proved was failing. And this is the final, most satisfying step. After the repair is done, you use a scanner to clear that P0174 code from the computer's memory. Then you take the car for a good long test drive to make absolutely sure the problem is solved and that dreaded light stays off for good. So the next time you see that check engine light, remember P0174. It often feels like this huge, scary engine problem, but more often than not, it all comes down to finding one small, simple issue. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What tiny, hidden leak might be causing your car's big headache?